Great American Pillow Fight coming at you.
Who's that saying stupid flag? Spurs in the stall, and when we all went piling out.
All you gotta do is block that guy. Your job ain't that hard. So just don't make it hard. Yes, sir, Coach. I got you.
Now, from Suite 11 at Louisiana Downs Casino and Racetrack in some basement in rural Central Florida, it's the Jumpin Offsides Podcast Network. Here's your host, Chance, JD, and Mike.
It is 46. For some, it's a great week. Like the week before, JD was all smiles. Now this man in the middle. The man in the middle, episode 46. Tell him what it's all about. The U. This man in the middle, is a lifetime Miami Hurricane fan. Can remember the days when they gave tickets away and they would just say, "No, it's all right. We're going to a party down here."
Yeah, we find a reason to go to the Orange Bowl. It just wasn't to go to the game back in the late 70s.
Exactly. Exactly. I remember there was a worldwide picture from a TV game, and there was a young man, probably in his early 20s, shirtless with jorts on, loving life down there, living La Vida Loca, I think.
Yeah, and he had a little more hair than he's got now, and it happened to be a different color.
That's right. It was that. But you look good no matter what, whether it's then or now. I'm talking about my good friend, a man that will make this 6-hour journey south to see his boys anytime that you want him to.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about a man of faith, a man of mission, a man of great worth. This is my dearest friend, president of the Jim Thorpe, as well as the Oklahoma Hall of Fame and the Chickasaw Aeneas Williams Award, the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award. My friend, most of all, thank you so much for coming down, Miami Mike James.
Well, thank you, Chance. Thank you, John David.
Yeah.
Mike, glad you're here.
Happy to be here. Thank you guys for the invitation. Always enjoy it. And, aside from having the opportunity to be on the podcast, it's just always fun to hang out with you guys, catch up. Just wasn't 6 hours because we could do it more often.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
but it's fun times.
Well, how was your week this week?
It's been a good couple weeks so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not catching flack for, living in Oklahoma. You have to be real careful when you sport Miami orange or anything about the U, because the folks in Norman don't like that very much. And so these last few weeks, I've had a lot of great reasons to sport that orange. Mm-hmm. And but it's been good. It's been a good week, and we're off to a good start. It's just 1 week at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a parting gift for you tonight too. As you leave, we have some of our Jumpin Offsides Carson Beck and the Bad Decision shirt for you. He did make a bad decision the other night in the game, and we figured that was coming. We just thought we'd make it a little tighter. But you are built right up front on both sides of the ball, so it really didn't matter.
Well, and the thing is, it's a long season.
It is that.
And, just 1 week at a time. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm almost convinced that had Miami not thrown one pass, they would have beat us even worse. So I appreciate Carson having his, thumb on the measure or on the scale, as they say, because God almighty, that was just a good old-fashioned take you behind the shed and whip your little fanny.
Well, what's terrible, Mike, is we have, I say we, like it's my team.
It is.
Okay, so we've been not good for so long that you watch the games now and you hold your breath and you're going, gosh, we need to be up by like 28 just to take the pressure off of me, because you're just waiting. It's like any minute now.
I know the feeling.
And then, and then it was pouring rain, and who knows what's going to happen at Joe Robbie, or I still call it Joe Robbie, at Joe Robbie when it's raining, Anyway, yeah, just, again, I go back to it. It's like those 3-4 weeks are over. Let's look at next week and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But no, it's good stuff.
I thought the game went, and I watched the first half, and I watched just a little bit of the second half because I had to leave the house, but I kept up with it on my phone. Chance was texting me back and forth. But, I felt like when Florida got back in the game and it was 13-7, they had all the momentum. And I told Chance this, and I don't know if I told you, Mike. I tried to call you Sunday. I think you were still mad. But when they had 4th and 3 from the 32, if you kick the field goal there and you go down 13-10, you still got all the momentum and you kick the ball off. But instead, you allow them to stop you on 4th down and take all the momentum back. And so all they had to do was go 10 yards to the 40 or 8 yards, whatever they did, and punt. And when they pinned y'all back on like the 5 or 6 yard line or whatever, and you went 3 plays and -2 yards and punt, the next time Miami got the ball, they're at the 50. It's over with at that point. Like, it's fourth quarter, and they've got a short field to work with. And I just felt like that one lone decision, to me, defined Billy Napier's tenure at Florida. Like, the one decision that could have kept Florida in the game was, and I agree. Like, look, y'all went forward on 4th down a few times. You got it. But the one time you didn't need to, you did, and it cost you.
I agree with that, because those plays he went for it on 4th, you knew he had to go for it on 4th.
Yeah.
With that one, you felt like you could get points in your pocket and go. But I will say this to back it up, just to play devil's advocate on it, because I've thought about it so much since it happened. Like, we all, there's a meme a day on it. Scared money don't make money. That was always the thing with Billy. Oh, scared money don't make money. So if that works, then it keeps rolling. Everybody's happy, and you get in the end zone possibly. Then it's a different ball game too. But I was with you, JD. Like, you can't take those points off the board. I didn't think.
How do you feel, Pearson?
I think it just screamed a team and maybe more importantly a guy and a coach that's in this desperation mode where he's at his wit's end. He's trying any and everything. So I commend him for that. But I think just in general, when you operate out of desperation, it's not a recipe for success. It's almost destined for failure, because all you're trying to do is it's like, hey, I'm going to throw spaghetti against the wall and hope that this is the right piece that sticks to the right play. Yeah. So I just really feel like that game and that moment in the game, to your point, JD, is a example of just the overall desperation that's being felt at the program. And whether you openly admit it or you just try to, what I think he's doing, in my opinion, incorrectly, is it's like, hey, let's ignore this problem away and we'll just find something to get a spark or to get us better. And so that desperation move, I think, was what happened on that 4th and 3, because you could pick apart every single, moment of any game, right? You could say, well, if he would have done this and they would have done that, he could have done this. But I feel like right now he's operating out of desperation, and I don't see how it gets turned around personally.
Well, and that particular play, you could look at, okay, was the weather a condition? Were the field conditions? Did that play a part in his decision? So to Mike's point, there are half a dozen things, or maybe more, that would cause him to go, you know what, we're just going to go for it. But to your point, I understand, and I can see the desperation. If he makes it, he's a hero. It's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
If he gets the field goal, here's the thing. That was a no-win situation. If he tries for the field goal and doesn't make it, more people are going to say, why would you kick a field goal in those weather conditions and those field conditions? Why didn't you just go for it?
You're right.
So it was a no-win situation. And to Mike's point, desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah.
And he's got an offense that, it's been struggling.
Yeah.
Probably since, the LIU game, it's hard to really tell what was or wasn't, but we have not had anything to write home about offensively in 3 weeks now. So again, it's just, hey, I got to somehow keep this momentum train that we have on our side. And this is the unfortunate play that we're going to have to go with on. There's not many ball coaches that would tell you, hey, 4th and 3 down by 6. I want to, push my chips all in the middle. But he's at that point in the season. He's at that point on his career with the Gators.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think more importantly, he's at that point with that ball club too.
Yeah.
You know, we talk so well about what he did last year and kind of keeping them together and keeping them fighting and having them continue to stay close and tight. Now it's really going to be a true test, and that's up to, Scott Strickland and the powers that be if that is or isn't going to be a reality. So only time will tell.
Yeah. I didn't think about the weather conditions really because, I knew it was raining, but I didn't – Mike told us, it was coming to flood the whole game. So, I could get it. That's 32, 42.
It's 52 yards field, 51, 52 yards.
Well, if it's on the 32, that's plus 10. That's 42
it's
plus
49.
7. So 40. Yeah.
49.
49.
49.
Yeah.
49. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, and Smacks had his struggles too. So it's not like,
Exactly.
to Mike's
And if I
point you
remember
just made,
correctly,
there's no guarantee.
Yeah, and that's a right hash for a right-footed kicker, which Art Carmody will tell you is the hardest kick on the field for a kicker. It's right hash, right foot.
Well, that's why kickers get paid so much. They play 4 or 5 snaps a game. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
the pay per play is insane, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta be
Well,
able to make
as far as like how Miami played, Mike, it looked to me like they came into the game with the mindset of we're going to run the ball. Mike talked about this last week. It's like, I want our guys to line up, say, look, we're going to run the ball 25 times in a row, and we're going to tell you we're going to do it, and we want you to stop it. Well, they tried that, and it didn't work. Miami tried it, and they were getting 5 or 6 yards a carry. So that kind of was like, when you can lean on a team like that in the fourth quarter, and that's one thing I've always said is like Florida's always had those teams that could lean on you late in the game, and they don't seem like they got that team that can just lean on you now.
Well, you got Coach Cristobal. You think about the word that he preaches. It's pound. We pound. We're going to pound. I don't want to say he wears that word out, but you could probably poll his team and say, what word would emulate Coach Cristobal? And they'd say pound. Because if you even look at pregame, if you look at his interviews with some of the commentaries, that's what he was talking about. And so that going into it, to your point, JD, you had mentioned that, Coach Cristobal will probably tell you, look, we're going to run it 20, 25 times, try to stop us. Basically, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's what he's telling everybody out there. We're going to pound this football, and you're going to have to stop us. Now, the good thing is, if that happens, they have weapons on the outside. But again, he has created that culture. Here's another thing to think about. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rabbit path here. When the Orange Bowl was in Miami, it was very close to Coral Gables, and Hard Rock Stadium is. A lot of people say, oh, here we are in Miami, a beautiful Hard Rock Stadium. Hard Rock Stadium is really in like South Hollywood. It's in Hallandale. It's a 30 to 40 minute drive easy from campus. So you're not going to get that draw over the years. You wouldn't get the draw. It's not like at LSU or even at Florida. You don't have the student body walking to the game. It's not happening. And so over the years, if you've looked at the stands, they're lucky if they get 30 to 40,000 people in those stands. And you look at it now, it reminds me of those old Orange Bowl days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I could wave my magic wand, what I would think would be great is if there was some way, and unfortunately they're not making dirt anymore in Florida, but if there was some way they could carve out about a 40 or 45,000 seat stadium in the middle of Coral Gables, that would make a huge difference to the team itself. Because I truly believe that there's something to be said about a fan base when they get behind your team. And if you look at this year's Canes fan base, or in the stadium, compared to the last 2 or 3 even, years, they haven't been there. And so now you have, not only are the Canes playing well, but you listen to the noise. You watch that Florida game, listen to the noise coming out of the stands.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in years coming out of a Canes game. So now the opponent is getting it from both sides, which again, maybe isn't a big factor, but I can tell you, JD, I heard you talking about, night games at Death Valley and Chance. I got to tell you, the loudest stadium I've ever been at in all my Thorpe visits has been the Swamp. Mm-hmm. Sitting in the press box with the glass open, and I was covering my ears. And, we haven't had that in Miami for a long, long time. And just sitting on my couch watching that game, I was thrilled to hear that noise. And that makes a difference. A little
Absolutely.
bit of a tangent there.
No, and I think to your point about, the identity of a team, Mike, we talked about this probably too long last week, but I'm just a big believer. The team follows what the head coach acts like, talks like, walks like, presents. And that Miami team is taking on Cristobal's mindset of we are going to pound the you-know-what out of you, and here it comes again. And what's even worse is when they know that what's coming and you can't stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's literally what happened to us Saturday night. It was more, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic or tongue in cheek. Like, I literally think had they chosen not to throw the ball one freaking time, they would have beat us by another 15, 20 points. I'm being dead serious. That's how I have not seen a butt whooping like that in quite a while by both offensive and defensive lines. It was impressive. So you got to take your hats off to them and say, hey, you got something rocking and rolling on there.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think the fans are recognizing it and they're appreciating it.
Oh, absolutely. Haven't had much to appreciate in a long time.
Well, you talk about that, and we were talking about this earlier. Cristobal and Napier and Kelly all came in at the same time. And you look at the trajectory of programs and where they are, and this is going to lead us to the next point. Everybody knows how I feel about Billy and Co. and everything, but the end is near, and it seems inevitable. So, which way do you go?
I'm going to ask you this week, just
It's
like
not
I asked you last week.
before the year's over.
No interim tag?
No interim
Okay.
tag.
All right, I'm going to ask you again next week.
Listen,
That's fine.
I'd love to let the old ball coach, hey, get him a little motorized scooter because his back's jacked up and obviously he can't stand up, for long periods of time. Let him have at it because I want somebody on the sideline. And again, personally, it's not what my cup of tea, if you will, but we go back to the team taking on the personality and the mindset of the coach. Billy is like this, like he's steady Eddie. And you watch DJ on the sideline, or you watch, like, I'm just used to the guys who come on the sideline and an Alex Brown or Gerard Warren who would get in my face or Rex's face or any of the offensive players' face and just, about come to fit, blows. Versus this team, it's just, I can't explain it. I don't understand it. It doesn't resonate with me, but I'm also a very open-minded person, I feel like, to say, you know what, I'm not involved with that operation day to day, so I don't know all the ins and outs of how they're being, coached up on this psychological and mental and emotional side of the game. So,
well, Mike, you being a former player at that level, how does this affect the players then? Do they care? Do they run out of gas? Do they throw up their arms? I got to believe that there are players that are still fighting, for lack of a better word. When I mean
sure.
fighting, I'm talking about on the field.
Yeah.
They believe. But I'm thinking about that because of what's going on at Oklahoma State right now. With Mike Gundy's firing, and everybody saw it coming. Players, I'm sure, saw it coming. So speaking of Florida, what goes on in the minds of these players when they hear the outside noise, they see the social media, and they go, wonder if coach is gone this week. I don't think we can save his job. I'm making this stuff up. What, Mike, tell us what goes on in the minds of these players.
Yeah, I'll speak to it kind of personally. I never dealt with it in college, obviously, because playing for Coach Spurrier and and being in that building with him, those were never thoughts that creeped into my head. But as a rookie in Jacksonville, my rookie year with Tom Coughlin, by about week 11, it was just very obvious, like somebody's getting fired. When it's going to happen, is it going to, and just so to your question, you start noticing a few individuals who start making the new term now, business decisions. And that's going to start happening. And especially now and I'm not against guys getting paid by any means. I think the NIL has brought on a new dynamic that they're still trying to wrap their arms around. But I think what you will start seeing more and more in these type of situations is exactly what you see on Sundays in those situations. You will have certain guys who are going to say, and I'm not saying it's a DJ Lagway per se, I'm not going to pick on him, but just as an example, you've got people that have to look at, okay, well, what is my value going to be next year? Because they all have the opportunity to hit the road as soon as they know, hey, Napier's out. I don't know what coach is coming in here. I don't know if I'm going to be his guy. So unfortunately, you're going to start seeing teams and a lot of kids. FSU last year, they're a prime example. You can't tell me that team didn't have certain guys just go ahead and check out. It was obvious.
Yeah.
Because that Florida State team was not giving 110% across the board at all positions at all levels.
Right.
So I think, unfortunately, the Gator fans better strap up for, I even hate to say it openly, but a 2-10 season we could be staring right down the barrel at. And I'm not trying to be, pessimistic. It's just with our schedule, with our lack of some sort of identity on offense, and like I talked about the other week, you're going to start getting the offense and the defense kind of saying, hey, I'm sick of going out there busting my guts, and you guys can't even give us 13 points, and you can only get us 1 first down in the first half, or you can only do X. And we're sitting here, we're keeping you guys in games, and you guys can't do this, because that unfortunately happens in teams a lot too. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I mentioned that, Mike, because if you and again, I'm going to go back to Oklahoma State. Yeah, I live in Oklahoma. I'm 50 minutes from the campus. You look at Oklahoma State last year, 1-11, 1-12, and this year they welcomed 60 new players to their roster. So you don't know how many they lost. They lost a bunch because people are saying at the end of a 1-11 season, they're going, okay, is Coach Gundy going to be here? Or I don't want to be part of this. Or to your point, Mike, you said, what's my value now? Is anybody even watching me? Yeah. What's my NIL value? Do I have the opportunity to even make NIL up here? What booster is going to want me? Or whatever. And so they had to have a mass exodus if they brought 60 new players on. And so that's why it prompted me to ask you that question. What's the mindset in the locker room when, and then the finger pointing could start, to your point. So anyway, thanks for answering that. That was good.
Yeah.
They asked, I guess, Booger McFarland at halftime about that. Florida had 32 yards of offense at half. And, whoever it was on the ESPN halftime show asked him, said, Booker, does this affect the defense any? Like, you played at LSU in the 90s with some bad offensive teams. And he was like, absolutely. He said, when you go out there and you're busting it every down and you're continually getting a stop, and they might have a few points, but you're continually getting stopped, and you keep looking up there every time you go out and it's a 0. Absolutely, it affects you mentally. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the defensive coaches even start getting frustrated. Because they're like, give me 2 minutes of a break for my guys.
Right.
Like, it's even to the point where, like, hey, I know you ain't going to score, so just give me 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a chance to let these guys rest.
Mike, here's a good example. It reminds me of when Buddy Ryan was with the Oilers, and he and
Kevin Gilbride.
Kevin Gilbride on the sideline.
Fist fight.
It's like Buddy Ryan's going, my defense is doing their job. Why don't you do yours?
Run and shoot.
Yeah.
Right?
And it starts, and I hope we don't see it start happening on the sidelines and it comes out in the open. But I promise you right now, in any locker room that this stuff is happening, these conversations and these angst and a little bit of, I don't want to say anger at each other, but just kind of frustration is starting to boil over for sure. Well, let's, in lieu of me continuing to beat up the Gators, JD, what is your team's, options on the offensive side? Because they still are not, clicking. And where do you see them kind of going for this stretch run?
I feel like the other night, even though, yes, it was southeastern Louisiana, they kind of started getting into a rhythm, timing-wise, Nussmeier with the receivers and first one thing and another. It felt like the timing was there, and so that's kind of what I feel like we've been lacking. We're still kind of having a revolving door on the offensive line, and our running back sprained his ankle the other night, but, I was looking – at a lot of plays. And so they were basically saying a lot of the issues aren't necessarily on the offense from the quarterback perspective as much as it is from the running back perspective. And so they said, go back and watch a lot of these zone stretch plays and how if Durham would break the ball outside like it's designed, he would get a 15, 20-yard gain, but he's constantly wanting to cut back into the line. And they showed like 5 or 6 instances, and I think it was on maybe, I don't know if it was one of the breakdowns Brian Kelly had or what it was, but if he stays outside where the play's designed to run, he's got a 15 or 20-yard run. Well, you start doing those things, and all of a sudden you don't have 2 high safeties. You got a single high safety, and that changes things. And so their whole mission in the last 2 weeks was to tell Durham, like, hey, run the play as it's designed. Don't cut back. You've got a lane over here. And there were several instances that they showed. I mean, he could have had 15, 20, maybe 60-yard gain, but he constantly wants to turn it back into the line thinking he can cut back against the grain. And so they're trying to work through that. And I don't know. I feel like Ole Miss's defense isn't that great. I don't believe it's going to be a shootout like everybody thinks. So I feel pretty confident that they're going to get it going. They were too good last year. They've got the same skill position players. The only person I think missing is Mason Taylor. And granted, Kyron Lacey's not there, but, we replaced him with Barry and Brown. And, I think, him and Nick Anderson, I think we're going to be fine. I just think they just got to get into a rhythm, and I think they will.
Do you think Lane Kiffin sent a spy into the tribe with his daughter dating your middle linebacker?
I think that was designed. I think that was designed from Lane Kiffin. Oh yeah, you should put that. You should post that. Did you see that, Mike?
I did.
Yeah, you should post that. You should go public with that. And that's all they want to talk about. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. If nothing.
Did you hear he took some sort of Vegas odds on the over under that?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to get married or I don't know what the deal is. He said take the over.
Take the over. So there's no telling. Ole Miss is always hard to play at, especially for us. Traditionally LSU and Ole Miss are rivals, even though we own the series. Like, it's always a rivalry game. They hate us, we hate them. It's basically our true rival.
Isn't that all of the SEC though? Doesn't every SEC team hate every other SEC team?
I think so, for the most part. I don't think anybody likes anybody. So
we used to love Kentucky and Vandy, but not anymore. I don't think anybody has them on their favorite to play list anymore.
Yeah.
JD, what'd you think of the new, 3-opponent deal and kind of where that fell? Obviously you and I were kind of upset that the Florida LSU game is not going to be as consistent as it once was, but how do you feel about the 3 you guys got?
So I think that when I went back and looked at it, they tried to keep as much of the traditional East and West games as they could. Y'all got Kentucky, South Carolina, and Georgia as permanents, and everybody on the East kept those, and everybody on the West kept theirs. But honestly, I know LSU and A&M have a history back from the 80s and 90s, but they didn't play each other all that often. It was, they would go in spurts. I mean, Florida and LSU have a better history than they do. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. You know, I feel like the A&M rivalry they try to throw at us is forced. And it's almost like they're saying, oh, well, you don't really have a true rival, so we're just going to give you them. Well, I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, A&M should have gotten OU, Texas, and Missouri, or OU, Texas, and Arkansas. One of those, because those are traditional. I mean, they played each other for 50 or 60 years. You know, even though I think they're trying to look at fairness in a lot of ways. You know, for Tennessee, I mean, they got Georgia, Vandy, and did they get Kentucky too? Who did Tennessee get? No, Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. So, I mean, Vandy got Mississippi State, got Auburn. I know Vandy got Auburn. So I think they were trying to play it like that. But I would have rather kept the Florida game as a traditional, you know, yearly game. I mean, of all the teams that play in the SEC, we're probably the most, you know, heads up. I think I haven't looked at all of them, but you know, what is it, like 34 and 34 now or something? I mean, it's pretty daggum close. I mean, that's 72 years of history of playing each other. And you know, I just hate it because it's going to be every other year instead of every year. So
I did like how they tried to get some of those traditional kind of Southwest Conference games kind of back. I mean, yeah. Mike, you could probably speak to that better, just from living out there and being in some of those heydays of that conference. But
well, you know, the Southwest and the Big Eight, you know, those two old conferences, you know, and to JD, to your point, you could pair up Texas A&M, and Arkansas, you know, the Southwest Conference, or you could throw Oklahoma in there, and now you're looking at some old Big Eight days, you know, and bring those rivalries back.
Yeah,
you know, especially the Texas A&M rivalry. That needs to get back to happening every year. You know, they made a movie about it.
Yeah,
you know. I don't know if I could say the name on a podcast, but it involved a place called the Chicken Ranch. But you know, I was going to ask you guys, and I hope I'm not getting off track. If I am, just tell me and we'll get back on. But you know, speaking of LSU, speaking of Florida, Miami, even Miami, you know, we haven't had Thorpe guys to watch in a while, and you know, for the longest time, every year. There was a gator, or there was a tiger that we had our eye on, you know, and now you're looking at, you know, I think back, you're looking at winners, Thorpe Award winners from Air Force, from Cincinnati, from TCU, you know, and what happened to those guys?
Coaching changes. I feel like, you know, I mean, Miami's had several, Florida's had a couple, LSU. You know, we had a Thorpe winner when Coach O was there, but then, you know, obviously the last 4 or 5 years, our defense has been atrocious. And for whatever reason, you know, we just haven't been able to recruit those top level DBs like we had. You know, Corey Raymond left and went to Florida. It didn't work out there. He came back, and now all of a sudden you've got the number one DB in the country that's a freshman that's getting PFF grades higher than anybody else on the team. Right. You know, so I think that DJ Pickett will end up winning the Thorpe within the next 3 years probably. He's just that good. He can lock down a whole side of the field. I mean, he's from Mike's neck of the woods, so the kid's 6'3" or 6'4", 6'5". I think he's like 6'5" as a cornerback. So that's a big corner. And I think, you know, and I think Florida's got a couple of guys too, like, you know, McLean and some of those guys that are really coming on. I mean, I think you're going to get back to that. And I think Miami's starting to get some swagger back and starting to recruit some of those. I'll say this. I think college football is better when Miami, Florida, and LSU are all good.
Oh, no doubt.
And Florida State. Let me say that too. Yeah. Florida State, Miami are really good, and LSU's got a good team. I think college football is just better. You know, for whatever reason. It's good for TV. It's just good for everybody. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see him back up. I'd like to see those guys back on the list again.
Yep.
Maybe selfishly, I'd like to go to those games.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, I guess maybe speak to some of our fans, kind of the process of the nominees and the preseason list, and then how you as a collective group decide to, go to these games, watch these kids in person, kind of give the average fan maybe a little bit of a, behind the curtain kind of peek on this process, because it's definitely intriguing for people who don't know a lot of the backstory that builds up to the winner at the end of the year.
No, thanks for asking, Mike. I'd love to. To create a preseason watch list, and again, I can only speak for the Thorpe. It's a pretty easy process. We go out and we purchase the 3 major magazines, Athlon, Lindy's, and Phil Steele. We look through those magazines and identify every DB that's listed as either a first, second, third team All-American or first, second, or third team All-Conference, and we give them point values. And again, this is all taken from last year's numbers. Mm-hmm. And so then what we do is we identify, we give them all a grade based off those point values, and we look at anywhere between the top 30 to 35 guys on that list. Now, again, you'll see some preseason watch lists comes out that'll come out, and there'll be 50, 60, 70 guys on these lists. Well, we could do that too, but what does it really mean? Yeah. So we keep it between 30 and 40. It's usually the number's about 35. But what we'll do after that, we'll identify those guys by their number, by their ranking, and then we run a background check on them. Because, along with the Thorpe Award, we like to say the Thorpe Award is 51% character and 49% play on the field. Because what was most important to the Thorpe family, and, think about this, Jim Thorpe passed away in the early 50s, but Jim Thorpe still had 2 sons that were very active in everything we did in 2019, 2020. That's when his remaining 2 sons passed away. So they were very active in what we did. And so part of the Thorpe process is character. Mm-hmm. And so we run background checks on all those guys, and unfortunately a couple fall off. But then that's our preseason list. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, that doesn't mean those are the only guys we're looking at. So players have the opportunity to play their way onto the list. I'll give you a perfect example, Mike. Aaron Ross, University of Texas. He, in 2007-8, Aaron Ross was not on our preseason list. Aaron Ross was not on our semifinalist list, but yet Aaron Ross played his way onto the finalist list and won the award.
Wow.
So it doesn't, I just want to say to the average fan out there, just because your guy isn't on the preseason watch list, don't get all worked up. That's a basis for us to start. Now, throughout the year, we have a committee of about 37 people. This guy's on the committee that will travel to games on their own dime to watch players, and then most importantly, to visit with players before or after the game to find out what their character, to find out what they do off the field. Here's something. We had 2 young men that grew up in the Shreveport area, Greedy Williams, and I just forgot his brother's name. He played at Oklahoma State. I can't remember his brother's name. Greedy played at LSU. His brother played at Oklahoma State, both DBs. Greedy was one of our finalists. What we didn't know until we went and met with Greedy Williams at an LSU game, JD, was that they started a backpack program when they were in either junior high school or high school here in Shreveport to give underprivileged kids backpacks.
Yeah.
But nobody talked about that. We didn't know a thing about that until we met Greedy at an LSU game. We said, "Hey, tell us something we don't know about you off the field," and we found out about that. So we have these committee members traveling all across the country to find those things out. That's character, that's leadership on and off the field. And then the other thing is, you'll see somebody on our watch list, or someone wins the award, and they say, "Well, that person didn't have the numbers that this person had." Well, it's amazing how you go to a game and you watch how they purposely stay away from that side of the field, or they purposely don't throw to that person. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's a real deal. That happens.
Oh,
You know, I can remember going to a TCU game, watching Trayvon Merrick, and I'm watching him, and I think they threw to him one time, and it was an incomplete pass. But I thought to myself, you know, I wish so many people could see that part of it, because you're not going to see that on TV. The camera's going to follow the ball.
Or stats.
Yeah. They're going to follow the ball. So you're not going to see that. All you're going to see is at the end of the season, you're going to say, well, this guy didn't have the stats this guy did. How come this guy? Or here's another one. This guy had more interceptions than this guy. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not an interception award. And an interception could tell you this. Are they not afraid of him, so they throw at him all the time? Or did he just happen to be at the right place at the right time?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, Mike, to your point and asking the question, there are a lot of things that we look at when we're looking at taking that preseason watch list, narrowing it down to a semifinalist list, and then narrowing it down to a finalist list. Now, let me tell you what happens during that. So our committee meets, and locally, we narrow the list all the way down to the final three. So in November, we'll meet and we'll narrow the list down to the three finalists. At that point, it's out of our hands. We send that list out. We send that ballot, if you will, out to over 250 different people, sports writers, columnists, people across the country, former Thorpe Award winners, and they vote. We don't touch it. So it's, you know, this way, there's no bias whatsoever. And when the numbers come in and the ballots close, the winner is who it is. And then we bring that winner in February. We honor them with an incredible banquet. And then we start again when July rolls around for the next season. But that's how it works.
That's awesome, because I didn't realize how late in the game, if you will, a finalist could be added. So that was pretty intriguing on that aspect, because I had just assumed, you know, once that list of 35 or 40 is set preseason, then it just kind of continues to get narrowed down from there. So that was something new that I learned, because I just didn't even know that was a possibility. So that kind of goes back to how you're very in tune to try to watch and see how the season progresses versus just, you know, as I look at the list week one, it's like, okay, well, Caleb Downs is probably going to run away with this. But after hearing your kind of take on it, then obviously there's opportunity for anybody.
Oh, absolutely there is. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. And then sometimes the popular vote across the country doesn't make the finalist list.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And then you have to answer those questions.
Yeah, sure. We're not even going to get into that tonight.
Hey, I'm here, baby.
Yeah. Bring it on, Mike.
Yeah.
No, hey, he's already explained it. My answer, my questions were answered by his great.
Yeah. And I will say this: when we
insight.
meet, here's the thing. Let me share it this way. When we meet as a committee to narrow it down to the three finalists, there's usually one or two guys out there that you know, we'll have 37 people around the table. You know, show of hands on this. Should this person be a finalist? And every hand goes up. You know, there's usually one or two of the three that are just slam dunks. You know, like you said, this year you're starting off saying, "Oh, Caleb Downs, it's his to lose." But then that third spot, there's one, two, maybe three players that you're going, man, let's do some digging. Let's dig deeper. You know, let's pull out the PFF score.
Yeah.
You know, let's look at this stuff. And I'll tell you guys a quick story. Before we started this committee, we started making visits back in the mid-2000s. We started going out making these visits to find out the character side of things. Here's a crazy story. It's not crazy. It's kind of a sad story in a way. We were down. This is back in early 2000s. So, you know, maybe 2001, 2, 3. I want to be very vague on the date because I don't want you guys to start digging going, okay, who didn't make the list that year? But anyway, we are narrowing it down to the final three. We have two, and the third spot is between two guys. And we're going, man, we just don't have enough information. We weren't making visits then. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting around a table. There was probably 7 or 8 of us. It was late at night. And they go, and one of the guys goes, hey, just call the school and see if you can get anybody at the school on the phone to find out maybe on the character side of things if something separates one guy from the other, because on the field, they're pretty even. So let's just say one guy, I don't know, solved world peace, that's the tiebreaker, And so we called the school, and this guy answers the phone, and we thought we didn't, when he introduced himself, we didn't recognize his name. And we said, hey, what can you tell us about so-and-so? And the guy goes, what? And this is before you could really Google something up. He goes, what do you want to know about his first, his second, or his third DUI? And we went, okay, that answered that.
Wow.
But again,
that's
no, go ahead.
I'd say that's interesting for me to even hear now that with the internet and everything that's available to you now, you're actually more in tune to travel and kind of have that in-person touch than even when, back in the, 90s and early 2000s, which is, again, kind of I would say a differentiator or difference maker to your point of how you get down to those finalists and really do a deep dive and make sure that it's that what the award represents, and it's not just a stat, and it's not just did this guy have more picks than this guy,
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't mind saying this. Bill Thorpe, who was Jim Thorpe's oldest son, was very engaged, very involved in everything we did. Matter of fact, Chance had met Bill several times. Bill was a wonderful man. Passed away in 2019. Bill would come to a lot of our events, golf in our golf tournament. Just a great guy. And Bill, when he passed away, Bill, I think, was 91, 92. When his dad passed away in the 50s, Bill was 30 years old. So Bill knew his dad. Bill had stories about his dad. He heard him firsthand. So every time Bill would come to the museum, to the Jim Thorpe Museum, I would say, hey, Mr. Thorpe, tell me something about your dad. I don't know. And he would tell me stories, just incredible stories. And I asked him one time, I go, so let me back up. So then I was at lunch with his brother, Richard. And we were eating at a Chinese restaurant in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'll never forget this. And Patrick Peterson from LSU had won our award that year in 2010, 9 or 10. And so I'm talking to Jack Thorpe, and I said, Mr. Thorpe, let me ask you. So he says to me, he goes, Mike, tell me about this year's winner. So I'm telling him all about Patrick. Oh, Patrick on the field this, Patrick on the field that, And he goes, and he stops me. He's eating, he stops. And he goes, no, Mike, tell me about the young man. Is he a good person? And I had went and visited with Patrick at LSU, went to a game, met with him, met his parents from South Florida. We went to rival high schools, not at the same time, unfortunately. I was like 3 decades before him. But anyway, I found out a lot about Patrick. So I tell Mr. Thorpe, I go, oh, Mr. Thorpe, Patrick's a wonderful man. And I started telling him about his background and everything I found out because of those visits. And he goes, okay, great. And he goes back to eating. And I said, Mr. Thorpe, do you mind if I ask you why you asked me that question? He goes, Mike, let me tell you why. He goes, this young man's going to win an award named after my father. So forever, this person will be associated with the Thorpe family. And I know it would be important to my dad that he was a good person. Wow. And he went back to eating. And I thought, that's why we do what we do.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Like I said, just the normal average fan, even myself, didn't know any of that. So that makes the award and understanding how prestigious it already is, or is in my mind, even greater. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell about the one story on how Jim learned how to run.
Oh,
this is tremendous.
Okay, so again, Bill Thorpe. Every time he'd come to town, Mr. Thorpe, tell me something about your dad I don't know. And he goes, well, let me tell you. He goes, I was having a conversation with my dad. I said, Dad, how did you become so athletic? In other words, there wasn't training back in the early 1900s. There wasn't nothing. I mean, how'd you learn to run? How did you teach yourself? How'd you do all that stuff? And he told me that his dad said that when he was growing up on the reservation in Oklahoma, he would run alongside horses and watch horses run because he said horses never got tired. So he would run alongside them and watch their breathing pattern. And so that he would start breathing like that. He would start trotting like that. So he taught himself how to run by watching horses and trying to run alongside of them and mimic their breathing. And he said, that's what he told Bill. So dig this. So anyway, so Bill tells me that story and I share it with other people and they're probably looking at me, yeah, you made that up. You're cuckoo, And I'm saying, Jim Thorpe's son told me this story that his dad told him. So have you guys seen the new documentary that just came out? I was staying in my hotel room waiting for Chance to come get me, and it was on Nat Geo while I was in there. I watched it again. It's called The Path Lit by Lightning or something like that.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's on Nat Geo. You could probably find it. But anyway, it's a brand new documentary. It's out, and it's wonderful. It's truly wonderful. Well, anyway, in this documentary, they talk about that. They talk about how Jim Thorpe used to watch horses and run alongside of him, patterning his breathing after him. I'm thinking, see, but anyway, but to hear those stories firsthand from his children and know that came from their father. So it's not secondhand, it's firsthand information. It's just pretty amazing. You think about what athletes have at their disposal today, thank goodness. But in the 1900s, when he was competing in 1912, when he's competing in the Olympics, they didn't have that.
Yeah.
Now they had the best that they had to offer back then. When they were training for the Olympics, naturally they had the best of the best at that time.
Yep.
It's certainly nothing like today.
Oh,
But anyway, the stories are just many, and they're just absolutely wonderful.
When
I'm always amazed.
Go ahead, Mike.
I would say I'm always amazed by, some people don't realize, but how big of a person he was for that time period. I mean, being a 6'1" or so and 200-pound man, back in the early 19 teens, and being kind of how that athlete he was. I kind of not because I'm this historian aficionado, but like he was kind of the first Bo Jackson. But sometimes because he's so far in the past, people just kind of gloss over greatest athletes of all time. I mean,
yeah. Well,
not many guys that did what he did in a lifetime.
Mike, let me tell you, I'm so glad you brought that up. And for anybody that's watching this now, we didn't coordinate this. Yeah. Mike, you brought this up. There is a picture that hangs in the Oklahoma State Capitol of Jim Thorpe with his Olympic uniform on. So it's a T-shirt and shorts, and it hangs in the Capitol. Well, when the artist wanted to paint that, they didn't have anything to go off of. So they didn't have really good pictures of Thorpe in shorts or Thorpe without a shirt. Now, what we did have and what we have the largest collection of Jim Thorpe's personal, I don't want to say memorabilia because it sounds like collectibles, but we have of his personal items than any place in the world. Belongings. Thank you. In Oklahoma City at the Jim Thorpe Museum. One of those things is when Jim Thorpe was in the Olympics and did all that, he was Native American, so he was not an American citizen, but he was representing the United States of America. And they thought, okay, something's different. He's Native American, he's Indian, something's got to be different. So they actually took him into a lab and did all these measurements on him. So they measured every part of his body, thinking, what's different? Does he have an extra tendon in here? Whatever it might be. Anyway, getting back to that picture, if you go online and look at maybe artwork at the Oklahoma Capitol, you'll see this picture. The artist wanted to paint this picture, but they didn't have anything to go off of. So you guys will like this. They wanted to find somebody that had that build. Mike, you talked about Bo Jackson. They wanted to find somebody that had that structure as close to Jim Thorpe as they could to use as a model. And you know who that person was?
Who?
Steve Owens, 1969 Heisman Trophy winner at OU. I had lunch with Steve Owens 2 weeks ago, and I didn't bring it up. And Steve said, "Hey, Mike, yeah, you guys still have that picture hanging in the museum? That's the one that's hanging in the Capitol." And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You know the story behind that?" I go, "I think I do, but tell me." And he told me that exact story.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, he's a freak for sure.
Tell this, because not many people really know and have dug into the fact of all the professional teams he played for in multi-sports. So you bring that up about the Bo Jackson. I mean, he played for the New York Yankees, correct?
He played for the New York Giants.
Giants, okay.
And he played for the Boston Braves.
Yeah.
Wow.
He played baseball. He played football. He played football for naturally Canton Bulldogs. He played football for the Oorang Indians. And he played basketball in a back then they called it barnstorming.
Mm-hmm.
So he played basketball and he won a ballroom dance contest. I mean, the guy was pretty, and he won the gold medal in the pentathlon and the
gold
catwalk.
medalist. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, just an incredible athlete, incredible man. They're working on a new movie. The only movie that's ever come out about Thorpe was the one in the 50s with Burt Lancaster. And it doesn't really tell a good story about Thorpe. It's really, our museum curator, I think, is probably the smartest man on the planet when it comes to Jim Thorpe. And he'll tell you, he goes, don't waste your money. It's not even close. Well, a couple years ago, this is pre-COVID. I think it was pre-COVID. Have you guys ever seen the movie, the remake Magnificent Seven with Denzel?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that? The guy that plays the Indian in that movie, his name's Martin Sensmeyer. He also played in Yellowstone. Anyway, he's going to play Jim Thorpe. So he came out to our place and he spent a day with our museum curator at the museum, just learning more and more and more about Jim Thorpe. So I say that because they're finally going to make a movie about Jim Thorpe that's going to be accurate. Right. Yeah. It's going to be accurate. And so we're excited and hopefully that comes out pretty soon.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, what makes it being that he played multiple sports, what makes it just like a DB award, just defensive back versus somebody that plays two sports in college and excels in both or something like that?
It's funny. Here's how that came about. And it's pretty simplistic. But in 1986, Oklahoma, now I was still living in South Florida in 86, but in 1986, Oklahoma, and you guys probably know, had just come through the oil bust, or they were in the middle of the oil bust. And there wasn't a lot of good things happening in Oklahoma. The biggest bank failed. I mean, it was doom and gloom in Oklahoma. Well, Lynn Draper, Mick Cornett, and some other local guys got together and said, what's something positive we can bring to Oklahoma right now? And they said, well, one of the guys said, well, we don't have a sports hall of fame. I mean, think about some of the sports people that came out of Oklahoma: Mickey Mantle, Johnny Bench, Carl Hubble. I mean, Jim Thorpe. I mean, the list goes on and on. So let's start a hall of fame. And Lynn Draper says, well, there's not a college football award out there for defensive backs. And Jim Thorpe played both ways, and he played defensive back, but they had football awards for every other position, but not one for a defensive back. And they said, so let's create the Jim Thorpe Award. Well, Lynn Draper creates the Jim Thorpe Award. Mick Cornett creates the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and they marry each other so we can support each other. Well, then Lynn Draper starts an organization called the National College Football Awards Association, NCFAA, which is still operating today. That's what we're part of. Now, the NCFAA has, and I'm going to miss a few, so you guys can help me out, but you have the Thorpe Award, the Ray Guy Award, the Lou Groza Award, the Davey O'Brien, the Doak Walker, the Maxwell, the Outland, the Bednarik. So Lynn Draper started that in 1986, and that's how the Jim Thorpe Award came to be. There just wasn't a defensive back award.
Yeah, interesting.
The first winner was from Baylor.
Thomas Everett, Baylor University.
Dallas Cowboy.
What school has the most players?
That's a three-way tie between Texas, LSU, and OU.
Wow.
They each have three.
So Texas tied it last year. It's been a while since somebody from OU won.
Derek Strait, 2004.
Yeah.
3-4. Miami only has one. Come on, you guys give me a hard time. We have one.
Blades, right?
Yeah.
Step it up.
Man, Florida has one. Lawrence Wright.
Yeah, Lawrence Wright. Yeah, L-Dog. Yep.
Still have his big helmet in there, too, the big face mask.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're having our 40th anniversary, Mike, February 10th. And so we're trying to get as many guys back as we can. So why don't you come join us?
Love to. That'd be a
First
special
Tuesday in
treat.
February.
Nice.
Heck yeah. That'd be awesome. We can do our podcast from there. It's Tuesday.
There you go. There you go. But no, the Thorpe Award, it has become, well, golly, I don't want you guys to think I have the big head here. But Chance will tell you, he's been on visits too. When we go visit schools, we hear from a lot of SIDs, a lot of coaches, especially position coaches. They call the Thorpe the defensive Heisman, because you think about it this way. Think about it this way. Not taking anything away from any other position on the field. If the Heisman Trophy is supposed to go to the best athlete on the field, who's a better athlete? A person that runs forward or a person that runs backwards trying to cover the fastest guy on the other side of the ball? Who's a better athlete?
No, I was just gonna say that. I think that the Thorpe, because even as a kid, that was always kind of like, all right, back in the day when defensive guys weren't ever considered for the Heisman, like this is the Heisman for the defensive side.
Yeah.
Well, I truly believe that the Heisman should look at more defensive players. I back in the day, I can remember when Ndamukong Suh was up for the Heisman. I thought, man, I just want this guy to win because he plays defense.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah. Yeah. LSU had 3 in a row.
Yeah.
But it came down to a character issue.
Yeah. He ran. And the thing about it is that changed that guy's life, because look at him now and the character of the man he is now. It's completely different.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to go through some things like that, but you can have all the mentors in the world, but ultimately you make your own decisions. So
another fun fact for you: the Heisman Trophy and the Jim Thorpe Award trophies are both made where, Mike?
In Midwest City, Oklahoma.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a trophy shop that a guy started in his garage 50 years ago called MTM Recognition. And they make nearly every bowl game trophy, every trophy for NASCAR, the Heisman, the Thorpe. I mean, they make nearly everything.
That's crazy.
Can you order a lifestyle or a replica of Heisman Trophy from these people or no?
You know what's crazy? With the Heisman, I'm trying to think who I was speaking to someone who had won the Heisman, and they couldn't even get an additional one made for themselves. The Heisman Trophy won't do it. Now, the Thorpe, we get asked pretty often, because we'll have coaches that will want to buy one. So let's say a coach coached a Thorpe Award winner. They'll want to buy a trophy to put it in their office to help them recruit. And so, so they come through us, and then we'll call MTM and give them the okay to go ahead and work with them and do that. So we'd love to do that. But it's my understanding that the Heisman has a strict rule that one. That's it. The school gets one, the player gets one. That's it.
Yeah. Danny Warfare used to use his as a doorstop.
Is that right? Well, I'll tell you.
True story.
At college or at home or after college?
No, when he was moving out of his apartment in Gainesville.
It's heavy enough.
The guy who told me this, he said word for word, he said he came over to help Danny move his stuff out, and the Heisman Trophy was propping open the front door.
It's heavy enough.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're proud of the Thorpe, and Roy Williams, who won our Thorpe Award from OU in 2001, a couple years, again, pre-COVID. That's when we used to go to Atlanta for the ESPN College Football Award Show and present the Thorpe Award there. And we would always get a former award winner to present the award on live TV. So Roy Williams came, and after the show was over, we were just conversing about things, and Roy said, "Hey, Mike," he goes, "there are a lot of great players at HBCUs that don't get recognition. We ought to come up with a Thorpe Award for the best defensive back from a Division I HBCU." And I thought, that's a great idea. There's nothing out there like that. There is one named award that can go to an HBCU, and I think it's called the Buck Buchanan Award, and it's basically their MVP. So it can go to any.
A Walter Payton Award.
Well, here's the thing: there's a Walter Payton, there's a Jerry Rice, I think, but they can go to an FCS player.
Really?
So any FCS player.
Okay.
Not just an HBCU.
Okay.
And so I started doing some research, and Roy started doing some research on his end. Pardon me. The short of this story, we found a sponsor for the award, and then we needed a name. And we didn't want to call it the Jim Thorpe Award for HBCUs because we thought that would be too confusing. Pardon me. Although Jim Thorpe was a minority. So we started going through all the incredible defensive backs that have come out of HBCUs, and there's been a bunch. And one name that popped up was Aeneas Williams. Walk on at Southern as a junior, and then, had an incredible career in the NFL. Now he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So we started to talk about that, and Roy said, "Hey, I know him. I'm going to reach out to him." So Roy reached out to Aeneas, and we are now in our 4th year of handing out the Aeneas Williams Award, and it goes to the best defensive back from a Division I HBCU. And when we made that announcement, ESPN called it groundbreaking.
That's awesome.
And now what we're hearing, I haven't seen it yet, but little birds are saying that some other major college football awards that we were talking about earlier are thinking about coming up with their versions for HBCU players.
Yeah.
So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Y'all want to get into some games?
Let's talk a little bit about last week's games besides the ones we talked about a little bit. What about Missouri, South Carolina? What y'all think about that?
Well, I know how Mike had to feel about that.
Well, I did pick Missouri to win, so I got the little sheet right here to prove it, which I wasn't happy about. But obviously, it's kind of showing that maybe a paper tiger at the beginning of the season. And this was something I heard this morning. I think it was Matt Berry was saying to the Dusty and Danny show. Out of all those preseason favorites for the Heisman and the front runners, he went down the list. Arch Manning not playing so hot, Cade Klubnik not playing so hot, Sellers not playing so hot. Who was the fourth? There was one
not playing so hot.
Well, he said Nussmeier. He's playing fine, but he's not lighting the world on fire. So it's just South Carolina. They're in a tough spot because they gotta put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Dirkwitz and that crew, they're quietly having another phenomenal year like he's been doing the last 4 or 5 years now. So. And maybe he's on the short list to come to Gainesville. We'll see what happens.
Never know.
Texas Tech with a huge win at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
We picked Texas Tech. Mike picked Utah. Kyle Whittingham.
Joey McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you go with your heart, and it's just not the right move.
I can tell. Yeah.
Who else? What other games?
Georgia, Tennessee, wasn't it? Or was
that was 2 weeks, but 2 weeks ago.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Tennessee had UAB.
Arkansas getting beat by Memphis.
Oof.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
I didn't either. I don't think any of us did.
I don't know. I've seen some rumblings online about Bobby Petrino and the motorcycle club lobbying to be the interim coach.
You think they'll have an interim?
They loved him. I don't think they really wanted to get rid of him. I think they had to. Yeah. And so, you think about what he did there. He had Arkansas in top 3 nationally. They were ranked number 3 when they played at LSU in 2011 in the season. He's always had a really good program, but he's got those guys scoring 40+ points a game right now. So, they're going to be a force if they can somehow find a defense.
Yeah.
So.
I almost feel like that move was inevitable.
To
what they kind of wanted to do and kind of set it up that way, but that's just me looking on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think now that that Oklahoma State opened the door or made the move, whatever you want to say? You see that happen at Arkansas or Virginia Tech. Do you start to see the dominoes drop?
I think so.
Well,
of course, UCLA and Tech had done it also.
Yeah.
But to catch a a tenured
That's
coach
true.
like that might,
Yeah.
some of these ADs are going to go, well, wait a minute, my nuts are on the line now too.
Well, and to that point, I mean, let me ask y'all: do you trust Strickland to make the next
I do.
coaching hire?
I do.
I mean, do you, Mike? I mean,
I mean, I think he's in a, like I said last week, I think we as Gator fans have this misconception of who we were and who we actually are. And we kind of lump those two together, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel like Strickland's going to make a good hire. But at the end of the day, everybody looks good when you first bring them in the building. I mean,
yeah.
you could bring Urban in, bring Lane in, bring Mullen back, whoever you want. But until they come in there and perform, and like we've said over and over and over again, don't confuse effort for performance. Because all these guys work hard, and all of them have their platform and how they're going to implement things. And the one thing that I don't like, and I don't know who said it, but I do get tired and weary of we got to give everybody these 2 and 3 and 4 year runways. I don't buy into that, because I think now with the ability with the portal, NIL, and just being a flat out person who can get people to rise and do their best. I just don't think you have to give people a 2, 3, 4 year window.
Well, I don't see how schools can continue to afford to do that when they have NIL issues.
Yeah.
I mean, so you sign a coach, and then this coach has a multi-million-dollar buyout, but yet you're struggling to get players because you don't have the NIL money. I mean, schools are going to have they got some figuring out to do. I didn't mean to get off.
No, I mean this conversation we have with every guest, so you're no different. I mean, Mike asks them how they feel about NIL almost every time we have somebody on. So you're correct.
I'm not a fan of NIL. Hey, it's like Barry Switzer said, NIL stands for now it's legal.
That's right.
But I'm not a fan of the portal. I'm just not.
No.
I don't think we're setting kids up for success. I think we're setting kids up for failure. As I was telling Mike, I was telling Chance and JD, there's not a life portal out there. When football's over, there's not a portal. If your boss gets mad at you or you don't feel you should have got that promotion, guess what? You have one of two choices. You find a way to get better or quit. But you don't. But if you quit, you can't throw your name in a portal. Indeed, you can't.
Yeah.
Go and look up what a junior at West Point, what their portal looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist.
Same with Air Force.
You sign that piece of paper. There's some big repercussions if you decide, hey, I don't like this anymore. So that's where I'm with you, Mike, on the portal. I don't know how they fix it. They've got to somehow get their arms around it. But, I don't know where the next steps are. I think mainly, too, with the coaching and the salaries, I feel like there's going to be a level set with maybe not necessarily the amount as far as yearly compensation, but I think they're going to start shrinking these contracts to 3 and 4 year contracts. Because they can't be held hostage by a Jimbo Fisher type of contract where now you got to pay this guy $70 million to get out of the building and just handcuff yourself with all your resources and ability to attract new coaches, new talent, etc.
It's like, what is that baseball player for the Mets that still makes $1 million a year?
Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
July 15th.
July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Okay.
How many
$1
million?
million a year.
I thought it was more than that.
It's like 1.2 or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But he gets it 1.2 for life, basically.
Well, yeah. Until
No, it ain't for life.
He's got 3 different teams playing him, though, was paying him besides the Mets. From when I picked last.
I think it runs out in like 2035 or something like that.
I got to look.
Which
that
is
up.
almost
best
life.
negotiated contract ever.
No, I don't know. Jimbo Fisher's wasn't bad.
Well, yeah. But here's the thing, Mike. All right. to stop the buyouts. I had this talk the other day. To stop the buyouts, the donors are going to have to start saying, we're not paying that. We're not paying $19 million to get this guy out of the building because he's terrible. Like the school, put it on the school to do, then these contracts will stop like that. And they'll stop being held hostage by these coaches and the Jimmy Sextons of the world.
Well, it's kind of like once you set that precedent, it's hard to kind of put the what's the verb or the adage? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
But they're gonna level set, I think, with the length of the contract.
Let's hope.
So it still may be a 3-year, $30 million contract for Kirby Smart or name the person, but after year 2, it's not going to sting as bad, or you're not going to have as long of a runway.
Yeah.
They could flip the script and say, hey, you get $5 million a year, and if you make the college football playoffs, you get a $2.5 million bonus, and if you win a game, then you get another, and if you win the whole thing, you get $20 million a year. I'd love for them to go to that and incentivize it.
Me too.
What'd you find out?
Okay, so Bonilla's initial contract that he signed was $29 million over 5 years, and it was signed in 91, so it was 92 to 96. But they released him, I guess. Anyway, they were going to pay him an additional $5.9 million, but instead of the lump sum, they agreed to pay him in annual installments starting in 2011. However, those installments had an 8% compounding interest on it. So instead of them paying him $5.9 million, they ended up paying $29.8 million. So they owe him right around $1.2 million until 2035. He'll be 72 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
On top of the Baltimore Orioles still pay him $500,000 a year on the same type structured deal from 2004 to 2028.
Jeez.
Like his I forget who his agent is, but
Scott
masterclass.
Borks.
Yeah.
So he retired too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Every July 1st.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about some of the games this week. We've got some big ones. I mean, let's just say this, and I'm going to have Wes put it up, and I sent it earlier to him. If you have something to do Saturday, you're a fool. Because at 7 a.m., you've got the Ryder Cup, okay? At 12 p.m., you've got number 21 USC at number 23 Illinois. Illinois homecoming game, by the way. Remember that. At noon, you have more Ryder Cup. At 3:30, you have LSU and Ole Miss. You also have Auburn and A&M, and you have Ohio State and Washington. You also have Indiana and Iowa. At 7:30, you have Oregon and Penn State and Alabama, Georgia.
Pretty good slate right there.
Pretty good slate of games for Saturday.
That's tight.
And Mikey P's going to see if I can get my driver straight. It's about 12 o'clock on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
You going to be walking?
I'm not sure if this club walks or not, so we'll see. Well, but I'll be listening to some games while we're playing.
Who's going to win the Ryder Cup? Let's talk about it real quick.
We need to win.
We need to win it.
We need to.
Especially on our home turf.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was watching Golf Channel today, and they were talking about how quickly the New York fans can be a help and a hindrance.
Right.
So I think Keegan's got a good squad, but I would tell you the European team, they had a lot of hot hands going into this. Yeah. So that's my only concern with our U.S. team is we typically, a lot of our main guys, I mean, Scotty played, I guess, last week or the week before, so he's got, those competitive juices, firing. But I feel like we tend to have too much of a break and a lull in our, kind of that sharpness. So, and the Europeans, just for whatever reason, they seem like they play the team game better than we do. Like, we'll kick butt on the Indy day like we always do, but it's the first couple of, team matches where it can be a tone setter. But I like our captain. I like Keegan. I think he's he's the type of fiery leader that I tend to go for
Gravitate
versus the
towards.
laid back and kind of like I want somebody to say a couple of curse words that we need to pray for him about on Sunday.
Right. Sam Burns gets fired up on that Ryder Cup, so I look for him to play villain. I think it'll be a good move for him.
He needs to play well.
No free ads, Sam.
All right, Chance, let's get into these games this week. Just so everybody knows, we didn't have a handwritten sheet this week. We got a text, which is a little bit better than a handwritten sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Last week he scribbled it.
All I heard about is how they couldn't read anything last week, so I went with a text. Kind of
Mike, you know how you said you guys sometimes the character is the differentiator on whether the guy does or doesn't make the list. We're going to start implementing that on the Jumpin Offsides crew.
Well, and, you're more than welcome to start doing games.
If certain people don't take their roles and responsibilities serious, we're just going to have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah, we'll have it. That means you got to get up here to see me to do it.
Well, tackle eligible.
That's right.
I'll bring my lunch.
Good. Bring your little face mask too.
Yeah.
All right, get them, JD.
All right, first game on the slate is an ACC matchup. Florida State was a 6.5-point favorite at Virginia. The over and under is 59.5. Is Bronco Mendenhall still at Virginia?
No. That guy's been gone for probably 10 years, JD.
No, he hasn't.
He ain't been that long.
Shut up, Mike.
Okay, look it up. I guarantee you it's more than 6.
No, it's less than 6, big boy.
All right, I'll look it up. You guys don't mess it up.
Yeah, Mike.
All right, no. Mike. Florida State's favored 6.5 over Virginia at Virginia. What do you think?
I'm going to go FSU.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah, I'll take FSU. What was the cup?
59.5. 59.5.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday night games are always 13. Weird. I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the under.
I'm with you on that.
And then what was the what are they favored by?
6.5.
Yeah, they'll cover that. They'll cover that. So. They'll win by 10.
Okay.
Bronco Mendenhall left Virginia in 2021. He's at Utah State.
10 years.
Okay.
Big deal.
Hey, maybe
I was thinking be character right. Stop trying to belittle that.
Hey, I'm willing to admit I'm wrong.
Bully ball over here.
Yes, yeah.
Partner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bully, 6'7" bully. I'm gonna take Virginia to cover.
Good.
I'm gonna take FSU to win, and I'm gonna take the under.
That's a good pick, JD. That's a Friday night game, like you said. Yeah.
All right, next game, we're going to go to the Big 12. Texas Christian University Horned Frogs at the Arizona State Sun Devils. Arizona State's favored 2.5, over and under of 55.5.
You like Mr. James?
TCU. Bud Clark's going to have the game of his life.
Love it. Yes.
TCU to win.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State doesn't have Cam Scattaboo.
That's right.
He's a stud. That dude is a stud. Over and under 55.5.
Oh, yeah.
Over or under?
Over.
I'm going to take that over.
Lots of points.
10,000% I'm with Mike.
All right.
I'm in one accord with you boys. I agree.
It's a Honda.
I'm out of the accord. I'm going with Arizona State. I'm going with the over.
All right.
I'm going to have a win and cover.
I thought you were
make sure you put that up.
I thought you were going to throw it not so fast at us.
Not so fast, my friend.
What's weird is we keep naming all these coaches on our short list, and we keep picking them to lose. So I don't know if we got a good short list or not for our next skater coach.
Hopeful.
Give me Sonny Dykes or give me Death. You know, back when he was leaving SMU, they said, "Oh, the plane's leaving Dallas, headed to Gainesville." I said, "Oh no, God no!" Now I wish we had Sonny Dykes over there.
Yeah.
Number 21 USC traveling to Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, to face number 23 Illinois. USC is a 6.5-point favorite, over and under 60.5, and this is Illinois' homecoming game.
I'm I'm taking USC because that champagne bottle burst last week on those suckers. So I don't either they. Oh my Lord!
Fighting Kirk Signettis are for real. Maybe that's who y'all need to hire. I don't care if he's 65 or 95.
He's 64. You get 6 good years out of him till he's 70, and then plus 2.
Well, Saban's how old is Saban? 75.
What I'm saying, give me Signetti. He mentioned age. I'm like, no, I want the brash.
He's got 10 good years left.
Step on your throat guy, and that's him.
Yeah,
we ain't getting Signetti. He's not an SEC guy. That's what we want. Okay. Y'all know that.
Well, he coached for Saban at Bama.
It's worked a hell of a lot of good for us the last 6 coaches we've had.
He coached at Bama.
We got your boy Sunbelt Billy, so that didn't. I'm talking about some SEC head coaching experience. That's what we're going after.
Well, the only person you got is Jimbo, or Coach O, or Saban.
SEC head coaching experience ever.
Well, I'm saying this time around, we're going to try to do something different, Chance, if you'll listen and stop talking so damn much. How about that?
Well, the problem is I didn't say a word. I was listening to you babble over there.
USC. I'm going to pick Illinois to cover. I'm going to pick Illinois to win, and I'm going to pick the under.
I'm with you, JD. I'm with you, too.
Yep.
I was looking at the same.
You don't get embarrassed like that twice in 2 weeks in a row, and
USC's coming all the way over there. I don't trust them anyway.
It's a different type of style of football.
Yep.
So
our former SEC coach, Brett Bielema.
Oh yeah.
Hire Bielema. He's got SEC head coaching experience.
Fat Bert, get it?
Fat Peel, welcome Fat Bert. There we go.
Bring him on. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Number 22, Notre Dame, is a 3.5-point favorite in Fayetteville facing Arkansas. The over and under is 64.5.
Man.
Notre Dame at Arkansas. Will Notre Dame go 1-3?
No.
1-4. No, they had a bye week. They were 0-2 and they won last week.
Okay.
So they're 1-2 because they somehow had a bye week after Miami.
Oh yeah.
Bama's had 2 weeks off after Miami.
Yeah, something is crazy. So they're 1-2. I mean, they'll be 1-3. So yes or no?
I'm saying Notre Dame goes
Freeman
down.
chanting, they sent the plane to Chicago.
Yeah. The tail.
They could have also been meeting with Signetti.
I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible.
I hope they were meeting with Signetti now that I think about it. Just for Mike.
I'm not sure how far Bloomington, Indiana is from Chicago, but it's not that close. 4 hours.
It's not. Yeah.
So,
but
it's been a while since I've been up there.
Roll right into Bloomington with the jet either.
Well, true. Meet me at the Roost Chris in Chicago.
That's right.
Who y'all got? Let's go. I'm going to take Arkansas to win the game.
Me too.
1-3 Notre Dame coming at you.
No, that kid Carr's playing pretty good ball. So I'm going to go with
Arkansas.
Go Notre Dame.
Give me the over.
I'm taking the under.
That's probably safe because I don't think Notre Dame will score with Arkansas.
Who you got, Mike?
I would take Arkansas on the under.
Arkansas on the under. Dang. Arkansas to win too, or just
absolutely.
to cover? Okay. Win and cover?
Yeah.
All right.
But you can't go Arkansas to win and Notre Dame to cover, though.
That'd be a Mike Pearson move.
Pearson loves to say that. He's not real educated on the gambling side of this thing, obviously. We've caught him in that jumble about 6 times over the last.
It ain't 6.
Give me Arkansas to win. Give me Notre Dame to cover.
I was looking at the line underneath.
And he'll say it, just boom up like that, poke his chest out, and we just die laughing, and then here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, guys,
y'all want to get those
I was looking at the line underneath.
Yeah. Y'all want to pull that winning percentage out anytime. I'll be happy to have you do it.
Well, that's because we let you get by with it.
All right.
Okay.
Next game in Athens, Georgia. Number 17, Alabama Crimson Tide. The number 5, Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's favored by 2.5, over and under 52.5.
I'm still taking Bama.
Georgia will cover and win. That's just a lot of points for those two teams, especially those two defenses.
You know, I don't know when the last time Alabama played at Georgia. Like, you know, they played at Bama, last year before? But that's the first time they never play each other during the regular season that I can remember for a long time.
They did during COVID because I watched it in Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
Well, I think that was the year that they only played SEC teams, right? So you had to play all 8 or all 12, whatever it was. So however they set that up. I don't know if this
necessarily counts as an upset, but I'm going Bama.
Me too, Mike.
I'm taking Bama to beat them.
Me too.
I'm taking Bama, and I'm taking the over.
Just remember what I said.
Yeah.
Don't count me out.
Yeah, but I
right.
trust Gunnar Stockton like I do Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm.
You got a shirt made up for him too?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Probably.
When we get ready to play them in front of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, I'll have one made.
I got your shirt right here.
Right.
Oh,
So we all like Bama and you like Oga.
Yep.
Okay.
Mike's going with Oga. Over and under, Mike. 52.5.
I think it'll be under.
Okay. He's going under.
I think we're going over.
Oga in the under. I'm going Bama in the over. What you got, Mike?
Bama in the over.
All right.
Yeah.
Auburn coming off of a controversial loss to Oklahoma. Going to number 9 Texas A&M in College Station. A&M is a 6.5 point favorite. Over and under 52.5.
What say you?
You mean A&M and the gas, as old Chance would say.
Oh, do it, love.
Yeah.
6.5 is a lot of points.
Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
QB is
They're
legit.
playing in College Station, A&M, to cover.
Yeah.
And the
So they're going to score.
And the over.
Okay.
There it is.
Wag your finger, Mike. A&M
That's right.
and the gas. There it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this. I think that A&M's had a gravy schedule. I don't think Notre Dame is as good as people think they are. You'll find out this week when they play Arkansas. If Arkansas handles A&M or handles Notre Dame or even wins, you're going to be like, maybe that game, like y'all all said about Clemson. Oh, that game don't mean so much now that Clemson's lost 3. So if Arkansas wins, then you'll see. But I'm going to pick Auburn. I think Auburn, they should. I'm not going to say they should have won the game at OU. I think they had their chances. Oklahoma's got a really good defense.
Yeah, but
their defense is good.
I understand that, but look at the total game at Oklahoma. Without that controversial play, we're only talking a 7-point swing either way.
Yeah, but they also had a fumble recovery for a touchdown that got called back. So, I mean, you take those 2 plays away or change those 2 plays, and then it's a completely different outcome. Yeah. So, but I mean that's just my opinion. I'm going to take Auburn to go into Kyle Field and get the win, and I'm going to take the under. All right, number 15, Tennessee, 7.5 point favorite in Starkville, facing Mississippi State. Over and under 62.5. Who you got, Mike?
Which Mike?
Either Mike.
Well, I'll never root against Tennessee because one of my childhood buddies is a coach up there.
Okay.
We played. Everybody calls it Pop Warner, and growing up in South Florida, we called it Optimus Ball. And we played for the same coach at Driftwood Optimus, Willie Martinez. And I will never go against the Vols. So go Vols, baby.
Rocky Top.
Until November 22nd.
Go Vols, baby. Sorry, Chance.
Over under?
What's the
line?
62.5
for the points, and then 62.5 for the total.
No, I'd say it's under.
Yeah. Even though Lebby has it going correctly at Starkville. You still like Willie? I get it.
I'm going to take Tennessee to win, to cover, and the over.
Very good.
Same.
I'm with you, JD. Talking Tennessee.
Michael?
I'm in one accord with you boys.
Same.
Let's get in that Honda.
Wag that finger.
All right, 2 games left. Number 6, Oregon, at number 3, Penn State. The Nittany Lions are favored by 3.5 in Happy Valley, over and under 52.5.
To whiteout?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is. Kirk Franklin don't do nothing for me.
Me
He just,
neither.
yeah, I think Lanning. If I'm being honest, I'd be my number 1 pick to come to UF would be Lanning.
Okay.
But
I agree with you.
Even though he
I
has
doubt that's
no
going to happen.
OPC head coaching experience.
Yeah.
But I'm with you.
Hey, so
I just picked up on that.
well,
Those
I
are
mean,
called
if
jab.
I could get Lane,
Body
if I
blow
could get
leg.
Lane Kiffin too, but Lane probably ain't going to come out of his spot
Spot the
in
ball.
You'd be
Oxford either.
surprised.
So you like Oregon on the gas?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm with Mike.
Me
Okay.
too.
I'm going to take Penn State to win the game. I'm going to take Oregon to cover. I'm going to take the under. 3-point game. Penn State wins. Ball game is going to be close. Going to be low scoring. Last game on the slate for this week will be number 3 LSU at number 13 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 1.5 favorite, over and under 54.5.
LSU and the under.
LSU. Did you say LSU in the under? I'd say LSU in the over.
Give me Ole Miss in the over.
Oh,
I'm going to take LSU in the under. I think it's like if it's a 34-14 game, that's still in the under. So,
Yeah.
28-14, 28-21, something like that. So,
I think it's something like 28-21, 28-20.
I agree.
Gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. We'll see if Lane's offense can, he's good. We'll see if the offense can put up something on that defense. So far, LSU's defense has been pretty good this year. So we'll see. This will be the week. This is going to be the telltale sign.
For sure.
If he scores
On
a
the
lot of
road.
points, that means he's getting his resume ready. If he scores
Sharpening
a
that pencil.
buttload of point. That's right.
Well,
We kept it sharp today. We had Miami Mike. Thank you for coming in. And as we always quote one of your Miami guys, Don Shula. Mike loves to say it, so go ahead and tell him a Don Shula quote.
There's a lot of quotes that we could, try to come up with. Chance is so good at them. I'll let him go ahead and say it.
Strive for perfection and settle for excellence. This has
That's
been
what I was going to say.
That's right. 46 a wrap.